Hey, what is up? Welcome to this episode of the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. As always, I'm your host, Brian Lofermento, and I know that I'm always excited for literally every episode, but particularly today's episode, because it's not so often that we invite former guests back onto the show, but today's guest is such a near and dear friend to the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast, who was previously on in episode 589, so 300 episodes ago. We heard from the amazingly talented and brilliant Matt Lowe, who is the CEO of ChipBot. Now, what today's topic is all about is last mile conversions. We were previously introduced to this from Matt in episode 589, but Matt has been growing ChipBot like crazy over the past year. They've grown over 50% since Matt has last been on the show, and I will publicly confess to every single one of you that there's maybe only about 5 tools that I say every single business owner must have in their tech stack in order to improve their marketing, in order to increase their sales, in order to really build that one-on-one connection with their audience, with their potential customers and clients and their existing ones. And ChipBot is one of those. So I'm saying this not as someone who is promoting ChipBot, but someone who actually pays for ChipBot in all of my businesses. So I'm really excited. Matt is incredible in the way that he views technology's role when it comes to last mile conversions. What are last mile conversions? As well as the role of AI to help us serve and reach even more people. I'm not going to say anything else. Let's dive straight into my interview with Matt Lowe. All right, Matt, I am so very excited that you're back here with us. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for bringing me back. You have a really cool intro. That's new. That wasn't there last year.
It's funny. I can't even keep track of what's new because life is just moving so fast here behind the scenes at the Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur podcast. But Matt, the same is true for you at ChipBot, and I'm excited to dive into that. But before we get to all things last mile conversions and AI and tech and ChipBot, take us beyond the bio, because I know that you've also had some personal changes. We were talking about some off the air. Who the heck is Matt? How'd you start doing all these cool things?
Yeah. I'm Matt, CEO of ChipBot. It's a company that's been around for about 5 years. In the past, I did 5 other startups. Prior to that, I used to be in different small to medium, large businesses and enterprise as a software architect. And yeah, since then, I just kind of picked up a ton of skills: sales, marketing, business, finance, investing. I'm on some other company cap tables. So the past 10 years, I've just been kind of really growing in my own way. Right now, ChipBot, I run a 4-man team. We're about to hire our fifth person, and yeah, that's kind of about it. A few other things about me is recently got into competitive table tennis. So these days, I travel around the U.S. I went to California U.S. Open in Ontario in December. I'll be going to U.S. Nationals in Alabama, and then back to U.S. Open in California later this year. So, and then here, I'm home base in Texas. So I play a lot of different tournaments in Dallas, Austin, and Houston and San Antonio.
Yes, I love that overview, Matt. On a personal and a professional level, I love how much you are committed to growth in all the ways, and that's exemplified by just some of those things that you shared with us. But I want to publicly call this out because I think it's incredible. You talk about having a 4-man team, soon to be a 5-man team. ChipBot has engaged with over 11 million users in your deployments across all your different customer base. I am very proudly, I'm probably 6 or 7 of your customers across my different businesses. And so it's become a deeply ingrained part of the way that we interact with our audience, the way that we interact with our potential customers and clients. But Matt, I still think here we are a year later, 300 episodes later from our first chance of sitting down together. I still think most people probably don't understand last mile conversions and what that means. So for people who aren't familiar with it, what is that? What is the gap that ChipBot fills?
Yeah, last mile conversion is a very interesting topic because you have to get a bunch of other pieces correct. So just like a quick primer, right? So you launch a product, how you get your audience. So you need a go-to-market strategy. Well, in your go-to-market strategy, you're going to figure out, okay, what's your awareness? What's going to be getting some people down the funnel into maybe considering who you are, doing a little more research, and then maybe comparing you with another competitor, and then eventually making a final sale. These pieces all are part of a customer journey. And what we solve is if you get your awareness right, if you get your middle and bottom pieces of your funnel correctly, whether it's sales or marketing, well, if they land on your website and they're just on the fence, or you have basically a coin toss. Well, if you have ChipBot on your website, we push them over the fence, right? And we have it's all about that video engagement that our product offers that helps them like, okay, I don't really want to read anything. I just want to know who you are and why you're different and why should I choose you. And our product kind of elevates that process and pushes them over the fence.
Yeah, Matt, it's so funny that this time around I get to have this conversation with you as someone who actually uses your product and loves your product. And I feel like the thing that I didn't understand a year ago when we initially talked about this is it's obvious. I'm a big believer in video. I believe that if you can show people yourself on video, immediately they feel like they know you. You and I have a relationship. We've never met in person before, but we're already talking about playing tennis next time we are in whatever the same city is somewhere in the world. And so for me, I've always been a big believer in video, but what I guess I didn't understand is that power of one-on-one interaction, even combining video with live chat. Matt, you talk about it being a differentiator. I'm actually going to say even more than that. Sometimes I've noticed across different products and services, it's not even about differentiation. It's about accessibility. It's about availability and being there for them. I can't tell you how many ChipBot live chats we've gotten across my businesses where someone will say, oh, wait, you guys really reply? This is really real right now? And it's that level of engagement that you said pushes them over the line. We all know as business owners, it's easy to kick off conversations with prospects. It's easy to initiate conversations. The hardest part is getting to that close. So Matt, talk to us about the different tools of the trade, because people who may not have seen ChipBot, you can always find it at our podcast website. You can see our own version of ChipBot in there. But Matt, what are some of those tools in there? So it looks like a video. People click the video and hear it. And then what's the wonderful world that opens up to people in real time?
Yeah, so that's a great introduction to that. So video is the hook, but then what's the next step? So we offer built-in live chat, and then we offer built-in help desk. The live chat, if say you're running like a service-based business. Oh, I'll give you an example. Like say you're a plumber, you run a small plumbing company. Well, when a residency contacts you, they want to be able to talk to you right now and look for a bit like, can you solve these things? Are you available? They want the answer quickly. And they have 3 different tabs open. So the fact that you watch a video, you talk live chat, the business gets notified on their phone, they interact directly, that helps close the sale right away. So we have built-in live chat for that. And then for the help desk, say you run like a SaaS business, maybe starting a new company and you have a SaaS business, you have onboarding. Well, as you onboard and you're trying to understand the product and you want to know more about it, sometimes their support is not always available. So our help desk allows you to add different FAQs that are just available that describe about the product and how to use it. So we found a lot of great use cases for these different features within ChipBot. So we kind of see it as ChipBot as this video, live chat, and help desk all in one solution for your website to fix these last mile conversion issues.
Yeah, and you gave some real life examples of a software company, for example. Matt, I want you to go deeper because my hope is that at the end of today's episode, every single listener says, okay, Brian, I didn't listen to you in episode 589. I'm going to listen to you in today's episode and go check out what ChipBot is and how it can help my business. But give us some of those real life examples, because I remember when we first rolled it out on the podcast website, for example, which is at thewantrepreneurshow.com, a lot of people, it probably is the first case they've seen it from a podcaster, that you can listen to me in your podcasting platform, or you can go talk to me one-on-one. I really mean it. I get push notifications to my phone, which I don't pay attention to my phone very much, but for live chat, I absolutely do. And I love engaging with listeners. So Matt, those are 2 examples. Walk us through all the different services and products, because someone might be saying, well, I sell Frisbees. Why would I have this on my website? Walk us there.
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So eCommerce, really good example. Let's do Frisbees. So say you sell different Frisbees. I used to play Ultimate Frisbee when I was a kid. So oftentimes, I don't know about back then, but we'll just say it was right now. I might be sure instead of going to Amazon, maybe I found something on TikTok, right? I found some ad came up, I click it. It's going to a Shopify website. Well, when it goes to the Shopify website, it might go to the homepage or the product page. Well, there's two different scenarios where you can actually leverage ChipBot there. If it's on the homepage, you can actually have a video to go over just an overview of what that brand is and why they're really different from like a Frisbee perspective. And then maybe they click, they close a video, they click into a product, and then the product itself would have a video that comes up. And maybe if it's a certain, we'll say their top Frisbee, the product itself might be showing like a UGC, like a UGC content creator that is using the Frisbee in real time, or not in real time, but like in a recorded video. And it's different. It's a different feel of it. You get to see how they're using the product just within a video. And then the business owner doesn't need to code anything. It's just already available. It's already part of the platform as part of the all-in-one suite. As they had different products, they had different videos for those products. So that's kind of like the e-commerce end, is demoing the product within the product landing page. I'll give two more examples for real estate. So we have a huge realtor base. A real estate agent would add ChipBot to the property landing page and give an introduction, again, who they are, why they're different. That's going to be a very common theme, I'm going to say. And then they'll create separate videos for different properties. Usually if they have like, some of them have a very large listing. So they'll just put videos on the properties they need to sell like right away. So they'll put a little bit more attention to it. And what they'll do is they'll actually do a tour with their iPhone, just a quick tour of the home really quickly. And you might have seen in the past, some people putting these like kind of very expensive systems to do a 3D mapping of a home. But a lot of real estate agents, they just, these are very quick engagements. Sometimes they don't have that equipment accessible. So just being able to go on their iPhone, do a quick tour, upload it on their property listing page, which are often antiquated technology. These are antiquated website CMS systems. So when they add ChipBot, it's like they get like this whole new unlock where they I can add video, I can have live chat. I don't need to talk to the IDX web team or anything. So that's for real estate agents. It's been a super powerful, and it actually helps close a lot of homes, at least for the ones we've been talking to, or at least from a lead generation perspective. And then the final example would be, I talked about plumber, but like we'll just do like a professional service, like any type of professional service. Like say you're, we did interior designer company just a few days ago where they signed up on our platform. They get hired by either individual private homes or other firms that are looking to design for a commercial property. And this is a relationship-based game where they need to know who they are and can they trust them. So they use ChipBot to make a really strong introduction about their firm, about how they're different in interior design. And then they just rolled out different, they have like a team page, and every team has a bio on who they are and what their specialization is. And they have a ChipBot video for each one of those team members to just give a quick introduction. And I think the gamble, I don't think it's not a gamble, but the thesis here is these strong introductions is going to outcompete anyone else that they might be looking for, at least to get in a first conversation, because they already know who they are, they already know how they talk, and you might get a gut feeling reaction of, do they really know their stuff or not? And if they get that gut feeling reaction that they do, they're going to get that call right away.
Yeah, Matt, it's funny hearing you talk about this stuff. I mean, I can share with you as a real life customer, part of my motivation in implementing ChipBot across all my businesses is, to me, I know that as a consumer, when I go to any business's website, whether it's a local, like here in Tampa, Florida, I love Flan Factory. And I remember the first time I found Flan Factory, they're not an Instagram agency. They are a flan factory here in Tampa, and their flan is amazing. So they're not very active on social. So when I went to their website, my questions were, are they legit? Are they actually active? Are they open? Is this an active business? Those were the questions that I had. And so for me as a business owner, I know that when someone lands on any of my websites, they're going to be asking themselves the same question. Is this business legitimate? Is it still active? Is it still open? And having video on there just gives a website that real live feeling. Even though, of course, it's not a live video, it just feels alive. I guess that's the better term that I'm looking for, is it makes a website feel alive. And Matt, I love these examples that you've given because you've tied each of them to a business development strategy of saying, hey, a realtor, what do they need to do? They need to show a house. And so I want to point out that this isn't video simply for video's sake. This is video within the context of last mile conversions, which, Matt, is probably intimidating to a lot of listeners and entrepreneurs because they're thinking, well, how do I know what to say to get someone over that hump? What is it that I will say in my video? And I love that you gave these real life examples of having different videos. When I owned my SEO agency back in 2012, I would have loved to have had a homepage video, a different video if someone clicks through to the SEO page, a different video if someone clicked through to the WordPress page. But for people who don't even know where to start because they've never used it, what do these videos say? How do we effectively convert in that last mile?
So this is, I don't know if you planned this or not, but we have an AI tool that when you are about to upload your video, or you're in the section of like choosing a video and you don't know what to say, there's an AI tool that will tell you, okay, what's your goal? Are you trying to sell? Are you trying to get a conversion? What industry are you in? What kind of website do you have? You just add these certain parameters. The video script AI generator will tell you what to say. And it will be like a 15-second video, which it's kind of what we fine tune. And it will tell you like, okay, for your homepage, this is what you're going to say. If you're going to add, I don't know if you use this feature, but we have this ability where you can kind of TikTok scroll different videos on the same page. So say your homepage, you do an introduction about your services and a test and a quick like overview of like one or two use cases. Our AI script generator will tell you, here's what you need to say for each video. Each one's going to be 15 seconds long. And it's all you have to do is just record. You could be on your phone. You don't even have to be, it'll be zero editing. Doesn't have to be necessarily, you don't have to be like the most charismatic person. As long as you're just authentic in who you are and you just talk normal, like a normal conversation, just record a quick one to three quick videos and just follow what our AI script says. That's all you have to do. And that will make a world's difference in kind of leads and sales or whatever goals you're trying to have on your website.
Yeah, it's funny. No, I did not set you up for that question, Matt. Listeners know we don't have any of these pre-planted questions, but I am going to walk you into this next one because I know a lot of objections could be, well, I'm not comfortable on video. I am. Let's roll with the example of a plumber. I am a plumber. I'm great at being a plumber, not so great on recording videos. Matt, what's your answer in those scenarios?
So if you don't really know how to get on camera, first we have pre-recorded actors. So we hired a bunch of local actors and actually recently added some international actors for Brazil and Singapore, where they will make the introductions for you. So if you need a greeting for your homepage, you need someone to talk about, you've mentioned SEO, if you need someone to talk about your SEO services, we have these kind of generic recordings that are ready to go right when you sign up. Now, if you want something a little bit more custom, you can just message us. We work with some content creators that we partnered specifically just for creating custom videos for whatever pages you want. They're very affordable. They're not like a ridiculous amount of money. And these are videos that you can often reuse. Like if they're not specific to like maybe a page or context, sometimes you can reuse them for social media too. So those are the kind of the two routes that we recommend if you just don't feel comfortable getting on camera. But the third path I would say is if you can't go on camera, ask someone on your team to go on camera, because it's going to feel a lot better if the person is close to the business. It's okay to hire us to say a script. It's okay that you can use our pre-recorded actors, but nothing's going to feel anything better when you have someone going to your camera. They have the logo of your business. They got the business right behind you as a backdrop, and you're just making your spiel. There's nothing more powerful than that. And that's kind of where, we will always recommend is if you can do your own video, that's going to be the most positive impact. But those are the options.
Yeah, Matt, I'm going to take it one step further. I'm going to take action on this in this quarter, which is you really got my brain thinking it would be so much fun to have a real life client on one of my ChipBot videos. So if they get to the part in our website flow where it is, if you're interested in becoming a client, here's what that experience looks like. To have that video come from a real life client, I think would be incredible. So Matt, I'd love to be your case study there. And we're definitely going to take action on that. I also want to, one thing we didn't talk about a year ago when you were here on the show is AI, because for me, I think it's so powerful. ChipBot brings that human element. When someone live chats me from the podcast's website, it comes on my phone, no matter where I am in the world. However, you already alluded to the fact that I'm not always there. I can't always be there. I do sleep. So I've noticed in my customer dashboard of ChipBot that there are some AI features that you all have been rolling out. I admittedly don't know much about it. How's AI play into all of this?
Yeah. So it goes back into fixing more the last mile conversion. A lot of our customers are small business owners. So they run small teams just like us. And they definitely don't really, when it comes to capital allocation, they want to put most of their money either on product or into their customers. So a lot of that means they don't have necessarily the full team dedicated to answer questions at 2 a.m. So we built some AI live features, very similar to ChatGPT and how you interact with it. We have that built in the product. So if you're not around, you can actually enable our AI models to respond for you. They're not meant necessarily to close sales, but what they will do is help book you meetings. They'll help do appointments. They'll help you answer questions about the business and kind of do overview of the business. Kind of very similar to how you might interact with GPT on a certain subject. That's what our AI does, but for your website. And then the cool thing is ChipBot auto learns your website. So once you start using the AI feature, you can tell it to say, hey, just with one click, it'll crawl your entire website and know everything about your business. And I think that's one of the most kind of powerful features. Like when you use GPT, it doesn't really know, at least yet. I mean, there's GPT 4.0 with Vision. They might be able to do it now, but it doesn't know anything really about who you are and what your business and what you do in your life. So it's hard to know that context unless you provide it into the chat model. With ours, all you have to do is click a button and ChipBot will already learn what your business does, what it offers, what the pricing is. It'll read your blog content. It'll understand your style of writing. I think it's some really amazing stuff. And that's kind of what we solve is what you alluded to is we try to use AI to solve I'm not around at 2 a.m. Or maybe you just have if you run an e-commerce site, I have an influx of new customers from a big campaign. Well, you don't have a large team to do support. So you're most likely going to enable our AI features just to respond quickly about refund policies, maybe about frequently asked questions around certain products.
Yeah, Matt, I have to ask you this question because obviously a lot of us have seen that on the consumer side as we've interacted with live chat or AI chat. Talk to us more about that training because I'm obviously fascinated by the fact that it crawls your website for that. But what about for more of those internal questions? We here at the podcast, for example, we know a lot of the questions that listeners ask us where they'll say like, hey, do you have a certain episode that I should listen to if I'm struggling with this in my business? How can we internally train it based on questions that we know we always receive?
I swear you set these up, but I know you're not. So in our help desk, we when you add content to the help desk, the AI will also learn that. So it's not just your website; it's the help. If you want to add top questions from your interviews, you can add those as either one article in the help desk or multiple different articles. It doesn't matter. It'll have a little badge say AI is learning for 15 seconds. And during that time, it ingests an AI, adds it to the vector model. And after that, it's part of the AI database. So then when someone asks that question over live chat, it will try to triangulate if that's what the intent is and give the answer out. And then additionally, as you add new content to the AI, say you're creating more help desk articles, we have this ability where if you have a certain topic, well, it will learn from your other topics and your website to see what kind of new FAQs you want to build based off the context of everything. So AI is kind of really one of those, it's kind of self-fulfilling almost. It's like as you add more content to help desk, AI gets even stronger with generating more help desk content.
Yeah, Matt, I want to take this moment to throw all of us entrepreneurs under the bus for a second, because the one argument that I always make, and this is a conversation we have every time we have sales experts on the show, is that a lot of us in our marketing and in our sales efforts, we expect and hope to close the sale in that exact moment. And so here you and I are talking about last mile conversions. A lot of people might be picturing, well, that's cool. So you're closing sales over live chat. And I want to make the public disclaimer and throw all of us under the bus that probably not. That's not the way most sales efforts work. But what I love about ChipBot, for example, and there are so many tools. We're not just talking about ChipBot today. We're obviously talking about last mile conversions and how ChipBot can plug that gap. But I love the fact that I get people's names. I get their email address when they live chat with me. That should be the beginning of a more intimate relationship. A lot of times it does actually push them through and they go do the things that we hope that they do from a business perspective. But talk to us about the back end, because we end up, Matt, this is something that was unexpected for me as a customer of yours. We end up with a lot of useful data from ChipBot. Talk to us about that side of it that people probably aren't even thinking about before using the product.
Yeah. So when it comes to do analytics on videos. So I don't know if you look on YouTube and you look at if you're on YouTube Shorts, there's this retention graph. We have these same type of data analytics for our videos. And what they're really useful is when you upload a video to your homepage, what you don't know is this going to work, right? And you can measure that differently. You can measure it like, are they clicking a button? Are they watching it? Did they watch it? Yes or no? But the true benchmark is how long do they watch it and where do they drop off? And that actually tells you, was the video interesting enough? And what we found is, especially with a lot of our e-commerce customers, is if you want more people to engage with a series of videos, you got to get people to retain past 3 seconds, and you got to get people to retain at 20 seconds and longer if you're a longer form video. And our analytics that's where we track. We track all these retention rates. We track whether you scrolled to another video right after. We track if you clicked a button. And these are just all on the video side. And it even tells you okay, did you come from a certain campaign? If you did, what buttons did you click? There's some really powerful features there. On the live chat side, it has a bunch of user information, like what the name and email is, because you enter as part of the pre-chat form, where they're located, what kind of browser they're using, did they come from certain campaigns? We have this little marketing section where it says which landing page did they first land on before they initiated live chat. When did they do it? Did their email bounce? Sometimes they just put in a bogus email. So we have a ton of data, just being able to measure and give to the business so they know exactly who they are, how they got there, and know exactly what to say.
Yeah, Matt, it's come to the part of the conversation where I feel bad for the listeners who are saying, this sounds complicated. How the heck am I ever going to implement all this stuff in my business? We have to talk implementation. It feels silly for me to ask you this because I know personally firsthand how easy it is to implement, but I'd love for you to talk directly to the listeners and share with them, because a lot of listeners aren't tech savvy like you are, Matt. They haven't worked in tech. They haven't developed software. Heck, even probably WordPress plugins for a lot of people can be challenging. So talk to us about what it looks like, whether they use WordPress or Squarespace, or you keep talking about e-commerce, let's throw Shopify there. Does it work across universally? And how do we actually make this stuff happen?
Yep, it works. ChipBot works on all websites. We built YouTube videos. Each one of them are about 1 minute or less on how to add ChipBot to your website, right? It goes from, you mentioned some of the big ones like Wix, Shopify. We have a specific WordPress plugin, but we even go to the very specific ones like Kajabi, Showit, Pixie Studio. There's these other niche specific website systems. We did all the research, and every time we find a new website that adds ChipBot and we don't see it in our tutorial video, I asked one of our folks to make a new tutorial video on it. So we're always creating new videos. I think there's 30, it may be slightly under 30 or over 30 different tutorial videos on YouTube, and we're just constantly adding new ones kind of every month as we find different new popular CMS systems.
Yeah, Matt, I'll publicly praise you here as if I haven't already enough. But I will say that one of my favorite things to say in entrepreneurship is that success always leaves clues. And so we talk about the fact that you have grown so much over the past year. And actually, when I said the 11 million number earlier, that was per month. I mean, I've seen on your website, 168 million people have viewed ChipBot in the past 3 months. It's crazy the scale at which you've been able to achieve. And so when I see that from a business, I always go crawling because success leaves clues. And on your website, it's right there in the footer. You just talked about these tutorials that your team invests in putting something together. If people are Googling live chat on WordPress, if they're Googling these things, you have a page for every single one of those potential queries on your website. You also have, and as a consumer, I know this is brilliant, you have pages for ChipBot versus Zendesk, ChipBot versus Freshdesk. So if anyone is comparing those, they're going to find your website. Talk to us on an entrepreneur to entrepreneur level. What have been some of these things that have led to your rapid growth and the huge scale of impact that you've been able to do with ChipBot?
I would say there's only one thing. I'll make a comparison to table tennis. So in competitive table tennis, every time you serve and do a serve receive, you have to be extremely flexible. Every player is different. Every environment's different. Your mental space is going to be different every time you play different. There's basically too many variables to control. So instead of trying to be perfect and saying, I need the perfect serve, I need the perfect type of opponent, I need the perfect shoes and the perfect environment, the perfect temperature and the perfect ball, it's actually much easier to say, I'm just going to be adaptable. And last year's growth, and actually I would say even the year before, all of our growth came to the idea of like, we're just super adaptable to where the market is going. We have a go-to-market strategy. We always continuously refine it and improve it. But I would say only like 40% of it's only accurate. Like we have this idea and then like 60% we throw away and the 40% we were right. And then we're like, okay, let's fill in the void with our new learnings and let's try and let's try again. It's not really a pivot or anything. It's more or less just adapt and be fluid and change wording a little bit, change the perspective, change budget allocation, change even the team makeup sometimes. And being adaptable is really the only growth. Everything you mentioned, like with some of our SEO efforts or some of our consumer facing tools that we have just for marketing purposes, like those all just came from just being adaptable. They weren't necessarily drawn on a whiteboard. On a whiteboard, we'll have something like 10,000 feet above, like, okay, let's create engineering tools for the engineering specific founders that are out there. And we don't know what it means. We'll just kind of do some tasks. If it doesn't work, we'll try again, but with a different parameters until something does. And maybe even what does work is mixed results. Then we'll be like, okay, what if we blended this with another idea that we see another industry is doing, not our competitor, but another industry. And then that's how we kind of like merge these ideas and just be really flexible in what we do. And that's really it. And whatever is working, don't change. That's another thing too. Like when I mean like be flexible, it doesn't mean like, okay, when you're doing something that really well, it means don't throw that out the window. You got to keep that, but be flexible on the things that are just kind of still in the air. You want to just be really open-minded.
Yeah, Matt, it's something that I hear from so many incredible founders like yourself is you're not really married to things. And I think that's such a healthy mindset of, yeah, this is what I believe will work. You believe everything you do will work. You hope that everything you do will work, but you're perfectly okay with, you said 60%, just throw it right out. And one of those things that you say, if it's working, stick with it. I'm going to publicly give you kudos. I love the fact that here we are a year later. And in my head, I always call this ChipBot for all. When people ask me about ChipBot on our website, I always go ChipBot for all. It's super inexpensive. Like just go get it. There's no reason to not have it in your business. And it's something I've noticed about you all is that you've stuck with your price, which your entry level price point is only $9 a month. Matt, talk to us about that because that is an intentional strategy. And I know for me as someone who's been aware of similar tools to yours for years, they previously had such high barrier to entry costs that I never even played with them. So I never got to experience how effective they were. Talk to us about your pricing strategy because I love the fact that we're still talking about ChipBot for all. It's accessible to every single entrepreneur and wantrepreneur out there.
Yeah, well, we built it for scale, right? And to scale to millions of people, you got to have something affordable. And I think we find our product kind of almost alone in that price category. A lot of products you mentioned are a little bit higher because you have to pay for an engineering team, you have to pay for hosting costs, you have to pay for so many things that oftentimes these other companies, they don't really know how to optimize it earlier on. We built, this all started with me originally. I built this already to scale to millions from the beginning. So I didn't have to worry about other engineering firms that they would have something like growing pains, where it's like, okay, we hit a bottleneck, now we have to upgrade servers. This was kind of already built to scale at an optimized level earlier on. So that helps keep costs down pretty low. The other part of the model is have a low touch sales process. You can only have a low touch sales process if your onboarding is good. You can only have your onboarding to be good is if your marketing is mirroring what the process is. So if we're saying all you have to do is sign up, upload a video, and add it to your website, well, onboarding needs to follow those steps that they were marketed to. So many times, another SaaS company would market one way, but their onboarding does something else. So what they'll do is they'll hire a sales rep or an account rep to be on their live chat to help them with the process or go jump on a Zoom call. Well, that all costs extra money. And in order to support that, you need to bake that into the pricing model. For us, it's like, okay, just develop a really great go-to-market strategy, be consistent on the messaging, and have the user experience mirror that messaging. And then don't change it. Or if you change it, you got to change on every part of the step from marketing to sales to product. It's either keep it the same and consistent, or when you do change it, change them all at once.
Yeah, I love the way you articulated that for us here, Matt, because I've had the great pleasure of seeing it as a customer of yours for the past year, is that everything that I already love about ChipBot has stayed the same. In fact, you've only enhanced it. Whether it's up to me, I've not taken advantage of a lot of the new AI features and all of that stuff, but it's up to me if I want to. And I think that that's such a core part of your experience. And you just revealed it for us here in real time on this episode, is that it's actually the level of intentionality that you have with your mindset towards business. So of course it extrapolates into the way that you run and develop and grow your product. So I absolutely love that. As we come towards the end, I want to squeeze in 2 more questions, Matt, because I want to tap a little bit more into the mindset of the entrepreneur of Matt Lowe. And I want to ask you about forward-looking growth, because we've seen you grow over the past year, and it's been such a joy seeing the growth of ChipBot during that time. But where does your mind look? Knowing that you're not married to things, knowing that you're very committed to just being adaptable and flexible, what's at the top of mind from a CEO's level? Are you saying, hey, this is where I'd love for us to go? This is a growth strategy that we can or should focus on. How do you even view that future timeline? And what is that timeline? Do you look a year out, 5 years out, 10 years out? Give us some real life expose into the way your mind works.
Yeah, so maybe I'm a little different here, but I try to remove time as much as possible. Only because it's one of the variables you can't really control. I can't say I'm going to 2x my revenue in 12 months. There's no guarantee in that. So you can't really marry yourself to that idea. But what you can say is, well, my vision is I want every business to show who they are, right? I don't care whether it's ChipBot or not. I just want them to go on camera and be like as if they ran a shop in person. Like I always had this, when I grew up, you always walked into stores and there's always someone greeting you. And if it's a small shop, especially like in the town square, well, you're most likely meeting the business owner and they'll talk to you. I just got my knife sharpened the other day. I'm talking to the business owner. They greet me. They tell me a little bit about their pricing, and then I figure out what the pricing I want to choose and sharpen my knives. That is what the experiences I want for all businesses that run a website. And that's my mission and that's my goal. So when I think about growth, then I think about, okay, I reached 5,000 business, a little bit over 5,000 businesses to date that have this strategy. Then how do I get to 6? How do I get to 7? I don't necessarily think about doubles. I just think about like, okay, it took me in the past 3 months to get 500, a little bit over 500 new websites doing this strategy. Great. Now, how do we lower the frequency? How do we get 500 in 2 months? So that's kind of where my head's at. So I don't necessarily think about long-term lofty goal numbers. I think about optimizing and doing things faster. And what happens is that's where the catalyst is for the growth. Okay, if I'm getting, if I'm following that efficiency, that strategy, well, by the end of the year, I think from October to November, we'll be able to add somewhere between 400 and 500 new websites every month, because 6 months prior, we were already thinking about how do we go from 3 months to 2 months with that process. So you only keep going until you hit a barrier, and then you have to kind of be creative with it. And that is where my vision is. So it's a little bit different. I'm not thinking like, I think a lot of, we have a white label program, so we talk with a lot of new entrepreneurs. A lot of people are thinking of like, how do I get 10K MRR? I think you really got to think about really much smaller numbers, and then going from A to B. And then once you do A to B, then you'd be like, how do you do it faster? How do you do it stronger? How do you go A to B instantly? And it's the same thing in sports. In table tennis, there's a lot of times it's a best of 5 match, and you got to win by 11 points for each match. It's a lot of times I'm 0-2 in the match, and maybe I'm down 5-10 in the current set. 1 point, I lose the whole game. Well, I can't think about trying to win the whole match yet. I need to think about 1 point at a time. And then once I get my way up, then I can do things differently. I can use that information and try to make a comeback, and then try to eventually win the game. It's very similar that's very similar to how my growth strategy is. It's like when I have something good, just keep optimizing and do it as fast as I can. But first, I got to get from A to B first.
Yes, Matt, I so appreciate those real life insights into the way that your mind works. And you're right. I do think it's certainly different from the way that we're taught that in business school, for example, of have a 5-year, a 10-year business plan. And I always go back to 2020. Whatever plan anyone thought they had in their business, immediately thrown out the window. So I think that your way of approaching it's more actionable. It's something that we can actually follow to fruition, because a heck of a lot of stuff is going to change. Think about all those. Go ahead.
It's composable. I think that's really what it is. Instead of having those fixated plans, you really just need a vision, and then stick with the vision, right? So my vision is get every business to record a video and on their website to sell, right? Every website should be a Shark Tank, basically, right? That's my vision. It doesn't have to be ChipBot, and it could be something else, right? Down the road, it could be VR. It could be, okay, once we have these virtual stores, it's the same thing. How do you 3D scan you and start doing an introduction about who you are and why you're different? The vision's still the same, just different technology. So I think that's where really the differentiation should be. You should have a long-term vision, but the plan to get there should be extremely flexible or composable in a way that you can keep building foundation or move the foundation as the market changes.
Yes. Gosh, listeners, do you see why we enjoy having Matt here on the show? Because not only is he talking to us about last mile conversions and how to leverage a tool like ChipBot on your website, but this is the real life stuff. These are the conversations, Matt, that I'm so appreciative that guests like you come on with full transparency and just reveal the way that your mind works. Because again, success leaves clues. And so for people looking at ChipBot saying, gosh, how have they reached so much scale, and how are they going to continue to do this in the next year and beyond? It's because of the way that Matt thinks. You all are getting a real life glimpse into the mind of the CEO of a very fast growing tech company. So here it is in real time, Matt. I so appreciate that. And you already know the last question that I ask all of our guests is, what's that one actionable takeaway? Especially since we talked about so many incredible things, all things last mile conversions, all thing growth and planning and strategy and entrepreneurship in mind. What's that one takeaway that you hope every listener walks away from today's session with?
Yeah, if you want to learn more, check out our TikTok, check out our Instagram. It's going to be at GetChipBot. If you're near a computer, go to getchipbot.com. You can type it in Google. You can just type in a URL address. You'll find us. You'll know exactly what we are. But if you want to know more about the product just in a quick and an engaging way, check out our social media. We're pretty active on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and really, this is just amazing.
Yes, listeners, you already know the drill. We are making it as easy as possible for you to find those links down below in the show notes, wherever it is that you're tuning into today's episode. Definitely check out, listeners. I know I say this for every episode, but here you're going to not only find Matt's business website, you're going to see the product in action at getchipbot.com. That's getchipbot.com. You'll find that link down below. If you want to see a real life example, you can always, of course, go to our podcast's website. You will see me. You can live chat with me, but that's all powered by ChipBot. If you've ever wondered, Matt is the CEO of ChipBot and the founder. So you can find his business website at getchipbot.com. Matt, on behalf of myself and all the listeners worldwide, not only do I want to thank you for today's episode, but I also want to say that we are big fans of the product that you've created. We're big fans of your company, and everyone inside the Wantrepreneur to Entrepreneur community is excited to watch your growth from here. So thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Cool. Thank you. And I'm looking to chat with your audience on social. I'm sure they'll have some questions from the podcast.